Hello, BookTube, and welcome to a bit of a belated book to film. This was Christmas orientated. I did The Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, and lots of Claire there, and uh, the one it's my favorite adaptation, I suppose, of it is Scrooge. That's the original UK title with Alistair Sim from 1951. And this here edition, I either read this edition or Penguin, or I've read others in the past. I reread it, or try to every Christmas, either Christmas Day. It's very short. Like in this version, it's just like 72, 73 pages long. It's just a novelette, basically. And or sometimes Christmas Eve. If I do have somebody over for Christmas Day, then I usually wind up reading it on Christmas Eve. If I try to every year. And this is a nice edition. It's hardcover, and even though I've read it like 4 times, it's still pretty tight. It's got the other. I don't think all the other Christmas books that he wrote in this edition. It's edited with an introduction and notes by Robert Douglas Fairhurst and Oxford University Press, 2006. And it has The Christmas Carol, or A Christmas Carol, The Chimes, The Cricket on the Hearth, The Battle of Life, and The Haunted Man. Um, and so it's got a nice back on it. I've put a dust jacket protector on it because it was tearing at the bottom, and it's a bit rough. I bought it as a used copy. It's got some stains on it, but the good thing about the dust jacket protectors then, because the way you get oil on your fingers, and it's not cloth anymore, it's paper, so covered board. So and it's got a nice little red ribbon. Anyway, I'm not going to go too much into the story because I think it's known by everybody. It's almost, you can't get away from it. It's one of these iconic stories. It's basically Ebenezer Scrooge. It starts out with a really great beginning, and like with sort of a great line. It says the second paragraph. Old Marley was dead as Old Marley was as dead as a doornail. And so Scrooge is a miserly older man who is a money lender in Victorian England. It was originally written in 1841, or published in 1841 by Charles Dickens. And Ebenezer Scrooge had a partner called Marley, the Marley who's as dead as a doornail. They were both miserly. Scrooge has survived Marley, obviously, and he has a clerk named Bob Cratchit, who is sort of long suffering with his miserly boss, who in his own way he believes that he is helping society, that he does give to poor houses and churches and things like that, and he thinks those institutions are good enough to help people, and anything else is a waste to give to people. So, but Bob Cratchit lives on very small wages. He's got a large family and a son who is lame. He's got an issue with his leg. They don't go into what the problem is, but that if there was money, then there'd be some help for that. But he doesn't have the money. So anyway, it's Christmas Eve, and Scrooge is going home to this big, massive house that he sort of, I think, shared with Marley, and he sees in the door knocker, he sees the ghostly face of his old partner, Jacob Marley, and it sort of unsettles him. But he goes to bed, he eats his sort of evening gruel, And then just as he's about to settle, well, he's not quite in bed yet, but he hears a noise, and the ghost of Marley comes dragging this chain with heavy metal bits and pieces on it that he says he forged it in life because he was greedy. And this is a warning to Scrooge. So he tells Scrooge that he will be visited over 3 nights by three spirits. And the first is the Christmas past, which shows Scrooge's past, and it shows that he was a young he grew up sort of lonely and a young man, and there's good times because it does show that he worked for someone who Mr. Fezziwig, who every Christmas had this little ball that spent a little bit of money and made everybody happy, and had this dancing, closed up early in order to do that for all the employees. And Scrooge was actually going to get married, but his wife his wife to be, his fiance, says that his Scrooge has changed. He's got a new love, and this is love of gold and money. So, and we also find out that he has a sister, or had a sister, as it turns out. And then you got Christmas after that, Christmas present. It's as if it's another night, as if he sleeps through, and the midnight of the second night, the Christmas present comes and shows his nephew, Fred, who is having a Christmas party, and they're sort of mocking Scrooge. Even though Fred still thinks that there's still some goodness in Scrooge when nobody else sees it. And they also go to the Cratchit household, and they see how even on his pennies, they still manage to have some sort of Christmas and be happy as best they can. And then it's Christmas future, where they find out that the reader knows right away that they're talking about somebody who dies, and that it's Scrooge. And that they at the London Exchange, the people are saying, well, where did he leave his money? Didn't leave it to me, and so forth, and he left it to the company. And the Undertaker sort of stripped his body of any kind of jewelry or anything that was of value. The washerwoman stole clothing, bedding, and the charwoman, the cleaner for him, took down the curtains and that, and they're selling them to the pawn, sort of rag and bone man, just for whatever they can get for it. And at this point, Scrooge still doesn't know who this person is. And then he doesn't really want to see much anymore, but he wants to know who this person is. And the spirit takes him to a graveyard where there's a stone that says as Ebenezer Scrooge. So he finds out that it's him, and that there's no love lost, sort of, for his passing. So this greatly affects him, and he wakes up. He wakes up that in the morning thinking that it's days past, but it's actually Christmas morning, and he wants to change his ways. Sorry, last few days I've been having some breathing difficulties. So bear with me. Where was I? Yeah, so he wants to change his ways. So he sends a big turkey to Cratchit for the family, anonymously, and he goes to Fred's Christmas dinner because he was asked, but he declined it, and he donates a lot of money to benevolent society to help people. And he, the next morning on Boxing Day, the day after Christmas, Cratchit shows up for work, and he tells Cratchit that he's going to raise his wages and help him raise his family and help with his lame son, Tiny Tim. So that's sort of where it ends. And as I say, it was published by Chapman and Hall in 1843, and it was an instant hit, and it's been in print ever since. There's been plays of it, like oodles and oodles of plays throughout, 160 some years. And the first film version was 1901. There were many other silent versions, longer versions. The first full length sound version was 1935 with Seymour Hicks, who actually reprised his role as Scrooge he did it on stage, and I really like that version. It's really good. And then there was an American version done called The Christmas Carol. Well, the 1935 version is called Scrooge as well. And 1938 was with Reginald Owen and I forget who plays Lockwood. I can't remember his first name, but I haven't rewatched that because I couldn't get a hold of a copy, like a colorized version, online. But no, I wouldn't touch that with a barge pole. And then 1951 is this version with Alistair Sim. It's even got young Patrick McNee, John Steed from the Avengers fame, playing a young Marley, and George Cole plays a young Ebenezer Scrooge, and Michael Hordern plays the ghost of Marley. I just love this, but in each one, like in each version, like it's been made oodles and oodles of times. Let's say, the first sort of radio adaptation of it was for the BBC in 1923. I don't believe that's around, but there is a later one that is around from the early 30s, and it's been done over and over again on the radio, audiobooks, for TV. Everybody has done it. It's done every year, and the last I think that it was done was a couple of years ago, 2019, the abomination of it. So I don't even want to talk about that. Sorry, it's just there's so much bad things about it. But yeah, there's changes as with everything, and there's some interesting changes with this one here. It starts out the book starts out with with a just before the quote that I say, it says, Scrooge's name was good upon change for anything he chose to put his hand on. And it's kind of funny because it means the London Exchange, and in the film they do mention the London Exchange, the buying and selling of goods. And there's other things that are there's another excuse me there's another scene at the end of the book here, where he says to Cratchit that he wants to, he says, after Christmas, we'll have a Christmas bowl of smoking bishop. And it's like, I think a rum punch or something like that is changed in the film. It's just little things like that I sort of noticed. And also when the Christmas past, it establishes more about his sister, and his sister dies while giving birth to his nephew Fred. That's not in the book. It's left vague. It doesn't know how she had died. It doesn't state that. But I do, like I say, I like the 1935 Seymour Hicks one. I really do. I think it's photographed well. I watched it again. I found it was up on YouTube, but a very poor copy. So I used to have it on DVD, and I haven't seen the Reginald Owen So it was the original one? Yeah. The 1938 version for quite a while, but this is my all-time favorite. Alistair Sim is just fabulous in it. He's very playful with the dialogue. Extremely playful. Uh, and because there is a scene here where he wakes up realizing, when he's going to change his ways, and he looks out the window and he sees a little urchin boy, and he asks the boy, oh, that's another little thing that he asks the boy, is the huge turkey, prize turkey, in the book he says the poulterers around the corner, and in the film he says butchers. Like, there's lots of little changes like that, which is fine, but I find the changes interesting. And the little boy says, is the big one still there? And he goes, what, the one as big as me? Returned the boy. And he goes, and then Scrooge sort of to himself, he says, what a delightful boy. It's a pleasure to talk to him. Yes, my buck. And the way Alistair Sim deals with these lines is just so playful. It's amazing. Well, for me it is anyway. I know everybody has their favorites. There's the cartoon versions. There's even a Barbie Christmas Carol. But a lot of people like the Muppet Christmas Carol, which is fine. Like all these, like I have watched all the versions, or as many as that that I could find in years past, and I always found something of interest with them. They change things, they telescope things, they expanded things, except the 2019 version just completely destroyed it. They destroyed the whole ethos of the story. And like other ones that I think are really great are sort of adaptations on Blackadder's Christmas Carol. It's fabulous. And even one of my other favorite Christmas films, It's a Wonderful Life, is in a way a take off of A Christmas Carol, and so many of them, because like in It's a Wonderful Life, Clarence, an angel, comes down and shows him sort of his past, but his past without if he didn't live. So in a way, it's a bit of a twist on it. And there's so many things that are that way. And then there was the Scrooged with Bill Murray, sort of a modern day version. But you see, all those kept the ethos of Christmas, and that's the one thing. I'm a big love of especially classic Christmas films, but they have to have, like, just because they're set at Christmas time doesn't mean it's a Christmas film. It has to have Christmas in there, but it also has to have the ethos of Christmas. Of basically, I guess it's the ethos. Maybe that's from this book, really, where somebody is one way and there's a change. You may not like it. It may be it's sentimental. It's definitely sometimes overly sentimental. That's fine. I can accept that stuff and enjoy it. Enjoy the story for what it is, but it has to have that change in a person in some way, or people. And to me, that is a Christmas movie. Other ones, as I say, just because it's a Christmas party that's going on, and somebody starts killing people, and this hostage is taken, in it and stuff like that. It's not a Christmas film. It's at Christmas time. It's a film at Christmas time. That's it. It's not a Christmas film. It doesn't have the ethos of a Christmas film. But yeah, there's your book to film. I think that's about all I wanted to say about it. It's not something that I was going to go into detail. This is more of a real personal one, I guess. I do have other versions. I have an annotated version of The Christmas Carol, which I can't find it because I thought, well, I should read that one this year, and I keep saying that. I've had it for a couple of years. And then also I have the I think it's called the original manuscript for it, which I haven't read yet, so sometime I will, because it is a favorite of mine and the other books and his other Christmas books. But definitely, because I like ghost stories too, and this is the ultimate ghost story, and it's a big tradition in England here of ghost stories for Christmas, and this definitely is. It fulfills the both. It's a Christmas time story and it's a ghost story, and even a time travel story. So, um, but yeah, and this here, the 1951 version of Scrooge, to me is the all-time best, and it's because of Alistair Sim. He is just so good. He's so playful in it. Anyway, I will see you next time, BookTube. Take care.